Hello OBA players, Coach Osting here. Today talking a little bit about social distancing and our new throwing pitchers, catchers workouts. We're going to walk you through the video of each station that we're going to do. Starting with when you come in, we're going to be in groups of 2, breaking you guys into 10-minute segments, which is going to be how long our bullpens are going to be, but it's also going to be the same length of time for each one of our 10 stations. So when you arrive at the academy at your assigned time, you're going to enter to the east side of the building, which is to the right of the parking lot. You're going to come in, you're going to grab your own ball for the day, and you're going to hold on to that ball. You're going to use that baseball for everything you do, playing catch, throwing your bullpens, and then when you leave, you can leave and put the ball in the exit bucket so that it can be sanitized for the next group of workouts. So the first station that we're going to start with when you get here and get your cleats on and get ready to go is just going to be a static stretching station, and along with that we're going to do our agilities. So just get in a full body stretch statically, which means not moving. And then we're going to get into our agilities, and our first agility is going to be our high knees. Our second agility is going to be butt kickers. The third agility is going to be slow shuffles. So stay low, butt low, stride it out, reach it in. Then slow shuffles the opposite direction. Now we've got short, quick karaoke, which means we're going to get our hips turned, but we're going to keep our feet low to the ground, so quick feet. The next agility is going to be an exaggerated karaoke where your back leg is going to get up and over, all right, almost like a hop in the middle. Really working on hip flexor stretching and hip rotation. And then we're just going to get 3 nice easy jog sprints in there, kind of starting out slow and working up to a full speed, really working on pumping your arms and thinking about exploding off of your feet. So that's going to be your first station, dynamic and agilities. Your second station, when we rotate stations, is going to be the dynamic stretching and our hip flexor stretching. So the first exercise in station number 2 is just going to be Ferris wheels. So we're going to go about 10 reps each direction. We're really focusing on getting along with our body and getting a full rolled and rounded core and body stretch. Got it. So after you go both sides on the Ferris wheel, then we're going to get into inchworms. So inchworms, we're going to walk it out on our hands and then walk it back in with our feet, and then we're going to walk back with our feet and then walk it back up with our hands. So one rep looks like this. So after 10 reps of the inchworms forward and back, we're going to do groiners, which are starting with one leg outside your hand, and all you're going to do is rotate. And feel that stretch. Feel it in the back of your hamstring, into your glutes, and switch. Switch. Really focusing on a stretch, trying to keep your back flat, engaged. Okay, the next dynamic stretch is going to be the scorpion stretch, where you're going to lay face down on the ground, arms outstretched. You're going to rotate your back foot over your body you're gonna touch your toe to the ground. You're really gonna focus on your opposite shoulder, trying to stay on the ground. Okay, the next dynamic stretch is going to be our hip rolls. We're going to pull our knees into our chest. We're going to roll them out and make circles. 10 rotations one way, and then opposite and switch it. Stretching is going to be a downward dog position. We're working on stretching out our calves. That's the last of our dynamic stretches. During this same station, we're also going to include our hip flexor stretching. So as pitchers, I feel like one of the biggest things that we're lacking as high school and college athletes is our flexibility in our hips. So this station is really important to really focus on getting that good flexibility and stretch in our hips. So we're about halfway through our second station. Now we've brought out the halo for our hip flexor stretching, and our first exercise is going to be cowboy walks. So we're kind of getting bowed kneed and getting out at an angle and walking out, keeping the tension in the band the whole time. Second hip flexor stretch is basically the same as the cowboy walks, only we're going in reverse. Low butt, chest up, reaching back at an angle, keeping the tension in the band. Okay, our third hip flexor stretch with the halo band is going to be standing fire hydrants. So we're going to be working on our balance and core strength, and we're going to work on driving that knee out and up, holding it, alternating legs. Fourth exercise is just going to be your traditional squat, where you separate and get out wide so there's tension on the band, chest up, sitting in your butt, holding it for 3, back up. Next hip flexor stretch is going to be a speed skater. So we're going to start with our weight on one side, and we're going to drive off that leg, staying flat-footed when we drive, not getting out on over our toe or letting our knee get out over our toe. So we're sitting in our heel and we're exploding to the other side, getting to that good balance point and exploding back. Next hip flexor stretch is going to be with our halo just above our knees, is going to be hamstring walkouts. So we're going to get flat on our back. We're going to raise our hips up off the ground, and we're going to walk out to a full reverse plank position. Tight glutes, hold for 3, and walk it back. Keeping the tension in the band at all times. Butt up, walk it out, hold for 3, and walk it back. Next exercise is going to be the clamshell. So our legs are going to be at a 90-degree angle, and we're going to keep our heels together, our feet together, and we're really going to focus on driving that top knee up and out. Hold for 3, back down slow. Up and out, back down slow. Make sure you get both sides, 10 for the rep. And the last of our hip flexor stretches is going to be the segmental bridge, where we keep the tension in the halo at all times, and all we're going to do is focus on lifting our rear end, our glutes off the ground, holding a good posture, squeezing tight your glutes, keeping the tension in the band at all times, One thing you want to focus on in this exercise is not overextending and getting too high. That changes what we're trying to work on and focus. So it's lift, squeeze, keep the tension, hold for 5, back down slow. Tension in the band, back down slow. Okay, so that ends our second station of 10 in our hip flexor stretching and our dynamic stretch. The third station is going to be our throwing program, and we're going to be very specific about our throwing program. The things that we do here at OBA, which make our pitchers really successful, is kind of have a focus on every throw that they make and really focus on making sure that each rep is correct. First step of the throwing program is we're going to start with our feet shoulder width apart, and we're going to start with our chest pointing to our target. We're going to get our shoulders rotated to throw. We're going to get our elbows to separate, and we're going to get our throwing hand up. So we have a slight angle up with our shoulders and elbows. We're going to tuck, and we're going to throw. During this first part of our throwing program, we're going to be about 20 feet apart. We're going to get rotated, elbows, hands, tuck, and throw. Elbows, hand, tuck, and throw. Shoulders turn, elbows, hand, tuck, and throw. Really focusing on getting that good glove tuck at the end. Okay, our next step in our throwing program is going to be vertical shin. Okay, me as a left-handed thrower, my left leg is going to be back. Vertical shin basically means our knee is going to stay over our heel and our ankle bone the whole time we throw. So I'm going to get straight with my feet. I'm going to get vertical in my back leg, kind of sitting my weight in my heel. And I'm going to take my right foot, my landing foot, after my hips get closed, straight to the target when I throw. Still working on making sure that our elbows separate, are getting our shoulders tilted, our glove gets tucked in my heel, throw. Vertical shin, hips closed, on line, throw. Okay, each one of those about 15 throws, which is going to be about a minute, minute and a half. Then we're going to extend our throwing program to 45 feet, 60 feet, 90 feet, and 105 feet. If you need to go to 120 before your bullpen, that's fine too. My whole body. So when we're at 90 feet, we're really focusing on not necessarily going through our pitching motion, but what we're really focusing on is when we shuffle. We get turned and we shuffle, we're still going to stay vertical in our shin. We're going to directionally go straight to our target. We're not going out to the side, and we're staying in our vertical shin, tuck, and a throw. So the back side of this throwing program is going to look something like this. My direction, I want you to notice, directionally I go perfectly straight. I stay vertical in my shin. I get my hips turned, my shoulders on line, and I throw. So our third station of throwing is now complete. When we rotate to go to our fourth station, you're going to grab a PVC pipe, and we're really going to focus on our pitching, hip flexibility, and shoulder separation. All right, so our next station is going to be working on our hips and shoulder flexibility. So we're going to start out, I'm going to do this right-handed for you right-handed guys. So we're going to start out with this pole in the middle of our landing foot out front. Okay, and the reason we hold on to this pole is to make sure that our front side stays on line with our target. Okay, so we get into our balance, our set position, and all we're going to work on is getting this back hip turned to where our weight gets into our back heel. We're going to hold that for a 3-second hold and relax. When we do this, we want to look at our target so that we're making sure that our front shoulder's not rotating. Get into our back hip and hold. Okay, when you do that, you notice I still have vertical shin. I'm not bending, I'm not locking out. I'm staying the same. My feet aren't moving. I'm getting in my back hip. My right glute is firm and my weight is in my heel. Okay? Rep it out for 10. Okay, the second set, we're gonna come into our set position, and we're gonna get our hip turned like we did in our first set already. So I'm in my back heel already, vertical shin. I'm basically in my set position, and now I'm gonna work in getting into my balance point. So when I get into my balance point, several things. I want you to get a good hip turn. Okay, if you notice, it's not a toe or foot kick. It's more knee back than it is foot back. Okay, so I've got a good turn here. My front side is staying on line with the catcher. I'm in my back hip, and I've got vertical shin. So I'm not locked out on my back leg, and I'm not over my toes. I'm tall, and I'm in my back heel. I'm gonna hold that position for 3 seconds, and I'm gonna relax. Okay, so I'm gonna come set in my back hip. I'm gonna get to a good balance point with hip turn, shoulder separation, making sure my shoulder stays on the catcher, vertical shin, and hold. Okay, so third set, I get set into my back hip, I get balanced into my right side, hip and heel, shoulder turn, hip turn, shoulder on the target, and I'm gonna ride the slope of the mound. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take the slope of the mound and mirror my back hip sliding down the slope. If you can see, this PVC pipe is angled to the slope of the ground, and that's what my back side is gonna try to mirror as I go forward to the catcher. Okay, and it's gonna look like this. Okay, so I'm doing it left-handed from a front view. I get set into my back hip. I get balanced and feel my weight in my back, the inside of my back heel. My hip is turned, my shoulder's on line, and my back hip is gonna get to the pole. You notice when I'm done, my weight on my back leg is still vertical and I'm still flat-footed, but if I get anywhere, I roll to the inside of my foot. I don't get on my tippy toe, and I'm not falling away from the target. Everything that I'm doing is getting turned and going directly to my line of throw. So after we get our 3 PVC pipe hip and shoulder rotation drills finished and stretches done, we're gonna get into a shoulder and hip separation stretch, which looks like this. If you're right-handed, you're gonna get on your left side. Okay, you're gonna bend your knees at a 45-degree angle. Your back knee is gonna get back. Your front knee is gonna get forward and lay on the ground. So we're mirroring what we do when we pitch. We're getting our hips turned. My throwing hand is gonna go in my non-throwing hand. I'm gonna pull back and scap retract till my elbow touches the ground. And I'm gonna lay my hand on the ground. Hold for 3 seconds and relax. Pull back, scap retract, and lay my hand on the ground. 3-second hold. If you can do it, you wanna do it with your front knee staying on the ground. Try to keep your front knee on the ground as long as you can. And touch. Okay? 10 sets of that, 10 reps of that. Then we're getting into a sleeper stretch where our throwing arm, okay, I'm gonna do this as a left-handed player. My throwing arm is bent out in front of me. I'm gonna take the non-throwing hand to the back of my throwing hand and just rotate down until I feel a good stretch in the back of my shoulder. I'm gonna hold that for a count of 10, making sure that my armpit stays on the ground. A lot of guys do this and they raise up, which is not getting a good stretch. So we're staying here, we're rotating down, holding for 10, and then we're gonna relax. And we're gonna do that again. Hold for 10, and relax. As you can tell, as I go, I can get a little further and further closer to the ground. So we're really working on our internal rotation with this stretch, where we're working on our external rotation with this stretch. both very important as pitchers. All right, after those 5 full stretches, you should be close to the 10-minute mark. The last minute or two of the fourth station, mentally get prepared to throw your bullpen. If you need to throw a couple more with your partner, but really focus on being ready and dialed in mentally when you get to the mound. Station 5, we're going to get on the mound and throw 10-minute bullpens. Okay, each bullpen is going to be specific, working on certain things. Some days we're going to work on velocity. Some days we're going to work on locating. Some days we're going to work on throwing to counts to batters. All things that are important as pitchers to really focus and get something out of your bullpen. When you're an OBA player, I really focus on making sure before you step on the mound, my first and last question to you is, before you step on the mound, is, what are you working on today? I want you to understand what you are working on in this session, and every guy might be different. It might be, I'm working on my secondary pitches. I need to really work on my changeup. My changeup's too fast. I need to work on taking some velocity off of my changeup. Or I'm getting cut on my two seam, so today I might throw a few more two seams just to make sure that I'm getting run instead of cut. So have a plan when you get on the mound for those 10 minutes. When you're doing all these workouts, it's great to get 2 hours of workout in, but when you get to that mound, that 10 minutes of mound work, you need to be really focused on getting better. So after our 10-minute bullpen is done, we're going to move into some med ball work. You're going to get 10 minutes of med ball work, which will be our 6th station. Okay, so we're going to start off with skip backs. Okay, so guys that aren't familiar with skip backs, you're basically going to put the ball on the inside of your landing foot. You're going to roll to your heel. When you come up and throw, you're going to overhand throw off the wall, and as you throw the ball, you're going to get firm on your front side, and you're going to slide your landing foot back. Okay, we're over-exaggerating getting firm on our front side. So the rep is going to look like this. Second med ball workout is going to be the full motion throw, where we just get here and we get around and we go